Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is a public hearing for us to take comment on the desired future conditions of the district aquifers located within Groundwater Management Area 7, Edwards Trinity Plateau. If anyone would like to make a public comment, please sign up a sheet over there. If you haven't, it's okay. You can do it anytime during the meeting. And you will be given an opportunity to give us your comments regarding the desired future conditions in GMA 7. First person I have here is Leanne Lofless. Ms. Lofless?
Where do is this okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I support this new desired future condition that protects spring flow and the natural systems that depend on it. Springs are often the first indicator of aquifer stress, and preserving our spring helps maintain ecological balance and supports the heart of our local community. When we first moved to Laughlin Air Force Base in 2003, we were homeschooling. So one morning I was reading to the kids some information about our area in Texas, trying to make them familiar with where we lived. As I was reading, I read about an area between the Nueces and the Rio Grande that, at least back in the 1800s, was considered a barren wasteland because of lack of water. I suddenly realized that's the area we had moved to. However, where pockets of water were, it was not a barren wasteland. Now, at this point, we need to work to keep our area from not being turned into one of those barren wastelands by doing whatever we can to maintain our aquifer. I have friends on both sides of this argument, as do many of those here. So we need to find a way to protect what the ranchers need, as well as saving our springs, which is a major draw to our area. It's hard enough to attract people to Little Brackettville. Without the springs, it will only hurt this area. Let's not allow our little oasis in Texas to be destroyed. This new DFC is needed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Ms. Lofless, if I could real quick, the way I should have mentioned this before you spoke, the way this works, we hear your comments and we summarize those and send them up to GMA 7. If you submit your written comments, we send those instead of the summary. So anyone, yeah, I'm just saying, if you want your words instead of my summary,
I like my words.
I think, yeah, well, I would prefer your words to my summary as well. So anyone that wants to speak tonight that doesn't have it written, you have until the end of the 90-day period. You don't have to submit it in writing tonight. Okay? So at any point before the end of the 90-day period, oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just put her name right there on the top of it. Anyway, you will be able to submit your written comments regarding these all the way up to the end of the 90-day period. So it's not tonight or never, just so you know that.
Sorry.
Next public comment, Charlene Cavender.
I wasn't expecting to talk this soon, but I will.
I only got 2 up here so far. So
So I'm gonna say this from the heart. I don't have a lot of data as some of the people that have been doing this for quite some time, but I do know this. When I started working at Fort Clark Springs, and the biggest attraction there is the springs. The springs, not just for swimming. It brings in money. It brings in people. It brings in new FRMs, which are new people that will, support the fort and come and hunt. We have a ton of hunting out there. Those axes need that water. Our animals need that water. She just showed me a picture of the turtle, a nice, beautiful turtle that's all full of mud because there's no water in the springs. If we lose the springs, we won't have a fort. We will not have people live there. I had people cancel that were coming all the way from Odessa to spend the night and weekend at our motel to enjoy with their family and enjoy the fort, enjoy the historical part of it. But they canceled because one of the big attractions was the pool. So guess what? We lost money. And all the people that I've learned to love in the 2 years that I've been here are here for that reason. They all have homes. If and there's so many people that are selling their homes now because it's becoming a mud pit. What's going to happen if the fort doesn't have the fort anymore? What's going to happen in Brackenville? What's going to happen to all you? I mean, honestly, what will happen if we don't have the fort and we don't have the springs? Oh, people are going to lose their jobs. We're going to lose our houses. It's sad, and it makes me sad. And I'm not a genius. I'm just speaking from the heart, and I just know that if we lose that pool, we won't have hunting anymore. Right now, the hunting is holding us because we're losing money in the motel because we don't have the people coming because of our springs. And I just think we really need to think about doing what the right thing is and supporting everybody on this. And that means supporting something that's important to all of us that are here. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Sullivan. You have some more folks signed up?
I have one, but I'm writing my comments on the back if I can have like.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem.
I'm writing first, but then I won't be able to read it. Are you signing it off? I'd already signed up, but I don't know if it's up there.
I don't have it. I don't know where it's at. You got another one floating around? Oh, here we go. I found him. Ha ha. In the wrong call. Oh, I got all kinds of people. Hang on a minute. Let's see here. Okay. Andrew Austin.
I didn't prepare a speech, but just go from the heart. I just wanted to express my support for this new DFC, and I hope we continue moving in a positive direction with managing our water. It's been really interesting. I've been living here for about a year now, and started coming out here to really connect with my Apache community. And seeing the spring go dry last year, it was really easy to get lulled into thinking, it's purely just a rain issue. Now that I live here and kind of seeing it go dry right now has been very interesting. It really, with all the rain we've gotten, it seems like we really need to, take this very seriously and manage our water in a way that everybody can enjoy it. And it's a sensitive thing. We have a lot of stakeholders. I hope everybody can just have an open heart and an open mind, and we can all come together and do the right thing. Thank you.
Holly, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Duong?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's a little.
It's me. Hi, I'm Holly Duong. I just wanted to say I moved here about a year ago. The main reason we moved here was the fort and the pool and the community. And we brought her, and she will be here till we're gone, I hope. And so I would like to see the fort kind of stay the fort and have the pool and have the water. So I support the new CFS, and I think we should improve it for our family and our little ones, because I would like her to be just like Travis's family, like 5th generation here. Like I would like that to continue. I don't want it to just crumble. And I understand like there's multiple stakeholders here and like multiple people that have differing opinions, but like I think as like just a general community, we could just kind of agree on something eventually. And I think doing this would improve potentially having the pool back and just the life that like a lot of people came here for, and reason most people live at the fort and here. So thank you for letting me speak, but that's my piece.
Thank you for your
Thank
comment. Tracy Bohr.
So, brought some handouts for the board members. That makes it easy.
Okay.
I can email it over. There you go. You too. Yes. Okay. Now, my name is Tracy Boulware, and I'm a water permit holder here in Kenny County. And I'm speaking here tonight to state for the public record that I would like to see the board adopt a DFC based upon the aquifer depth monitoring matrix. Half of the county uses the aquifer depth matrix, and the other half uses the spring flow. And doing some fun research, I discovered that Texas Water Development Board prefers aquifer depth monitoring as their method to determine aquifer health. Also discovered out of the 98 groundwater conservation districts in the state of Texas, 85 of them use aquifer depth monitoring. And the reason being is it's scientifically accurate and reliable. The aquifer levels reflect the true volume of the shared groundwater resource. There's no human interference. Stream flows can be artificially manipulated by the HOA valve adjustments. Unfortunately, the springs do have mechanical means to alter the flow. So that doesn't give you an accurate method of researching the health of the aquifer or the river or the streams, because it is managed with pumps, etc. There's several other ones. There's reduces the evaporation bias. Another reason why we should switch over to what half of the county does is it eliminates a conflict of interest. Well depth gauges provide objective, automated data free from the community politics. It eliminates bias. It prevents data tampering. Nobody can mess with it. It also makes it a more solid legal and regulatory framework for the district to work within. Since all the other districts predominantly use that and the Water Development Board prefers it, I think it should be heavily considered. Legal, it provides standardized metrics. Government agencies rely on aquifer data, making your records legally compliant. It gives clear liability protection. And also, it's easier dispute resolution. It's hard digital depth logs hold up better in court than highly variable stream flow estimates. So there's other things that I brought up in here that I would love for the board to look at on all the metrics. And this is basically today, it's about how to measure the health of the aquifer. And I have questions for the scientists, and I've included those in here, and I would love for y'all to provide a written response and give it to the district for us to look at. Some things that are truly interesting and would help us learn more about this whole process. And then I have questions for the board. And I'm not going to elaborate heavily on it, but management plan alignment. And there's 3 zones. And the one metric, which is the springs, dictates the entire county. Well, it should be 3 zones. Maybe there should be a fourth zone. And also, how can the board guarantee that future structural alterations associated with the spring and the localized pumping from the mud and from the city won't distort the regulatory metrics that are used to restrict the rest of the permit? And so, good, bad, or ugly, the springs can be manipulated, and then those metrics are used to regulate the rest of us. I would like to see best available science used. And I believe Vince had stated that he recommended the aquifer level depth matrix, and because it's very straightforward, it's not easily manipulated in any way, shape, or form. So I'd like to know what alternative scientific evidence this board is relying on to justify retaining spring flow metrics under Texas Water Code 36.108 and versus the aquifer depth matrix. It's hard for me to say. So that's it. I have a lot of questions that I wanted to bring up and some points as to what methodology would be best used to best reflect this water in this county. And I'd like to have this letter put into the meeting report and submitted.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Gonzalez. Richard Gonzalez.
Yes, sir. There you are.
Can almost hear.
Almost, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And, of course, my name is Richard Gonzalez. I'm chairman of Leap on Apache Band of Texas. Our family has dated back here, several hundreds of years. And this is kind of the central area for where our families have been from. And I've been coming to these meetings now for several years. And, I've lived in small towns and mostly small towns in my life, but I've lived in big cities too. And the amount of people that have left this county just in the last census is huge, like if it would be comparable to a larger county. So 300 people leaving this county that you leave or you come into Brackettville, you feel, or the county and see the population of this area has declined, and that's just in the city. And but those are important things to me. And one of those things I've kind of seen as, from the audience and from being a citizen is that drought plan. There doesn't exist in this county, even though there is a drought, and it kind of ebbs and flows like everywhere else. But for years you have done nothing. So it's time to actually do something. So hopefully all this data that we've been talking about, or you've been talking about, is actually put to good use, and then something gets done, because we need to protect each other. And it's not just about protecting one or two or three or 100 people. It's protecting all of us, the city, the county, the farmers, the babies, everybody, and our future generations. So if we don't do something, this will get much worse. And we have examples of other counties, not just here around in Texas, but around us, that have been devastated and become essentially ghost towns. So we don't want to get there. So hopefully something gets done, because we will actually, I think we need to turn up our attendance to these meetings, and so you can understand how important it is to the citizens of this county that something needs to be done, not just talked about. It's good to talk about it, but it's time to do something, and that time is now. We need to do something, even if it's something temporary basis, so we can have a more permanent a solution in the future. That's fine, but something needs to get done. Thank you, and thank you very much for reminding me about documentation, when I will submit something within the 90 days. You can submit that here, Mr. Gonzalez, or you can submit it to Miss Allen, who is the GMA 7 coordinator. And I believe we have a email address on her. If we don't have it on
I have
the
a question about submitting
on the
stuff.
deal.
Yeah. Can you tell us what the end of the 90-day period is?
I have to figure it up. It's here on the deal. This began May 1. So 90 days from May 1. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. Who is next? Curtis Bain. Mr. Bain.
I passed out something for all these.
Yeah. We've got.
I've got a copy for everybody.
Yes, sir.
We've got it.
Around. Yes, sir.
I think everybody's got a copy of it.
Well, just me
Take
looking at y'all's situation here with the Edwards and the Spring and the GMA that you're in. You got the Springs in 7. I personally think they should be a 10, because that connects all the Edwards together. And it's hydraulically connected to GMA 10 with all the aquifers. And you could you would unify management of the springs, Los Moras, with GMA 10, which here right now you're going to be doing 7 and 10's doing their thing, which I think you get a lot of flow from 10. And I just think it should be worked together all as one. And I think it's political probably. I think Anatone, whoever came and drew a line and didn't even worry about the springs. That's what I think. But I could be wrong. And they're already trying to protect spring flow in GMA 10. And you have 7 and 10 in this county already. It's not that big a deal. It's just a matter of a line. Or maybe it is. Sure, it's a big deal because everything we do here is a big deal. You can't just stand up and say, we're going to do this. You just can't do that. We've got too many regulatory things. And there's desired future conditions are one. And I don't know, it's a great spring and I think it needs protecting. And I just think, I know the Edwards, I've been Edwards in Medina County all my life. And there's always 2 places that went out. There's Springs and San Marcos and Brownfields and that stuff. And then this one. But for some reason, they didn't include it in GMA 10. At one time, the Edwards Aquifer Authority was part of GMA 10. Now I find out they don't even have a vote. So I don't know exactly what's going on politically, but things have happened over the years. And, the Edwards was the first aquifer to be managed or was going to be taken over by the state if they didn't put up the Edwards Aquifer Authority to regulate. So it was new grounds for them too. So maybe it was just overlooked. I don't know. But it's definitely connected to GMA 10. And I think that's where it belongs because you can work together with those people. Because if you're not getting the flow from Uvalde County line, maybe there's a way we can get more flow. So I don't know. I don't know the whole thing about it, but then you're in the right district to do the right things together to make it work. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boone. Christy Palmer. Ms. Palmer.
Thank you. Members of the board, the mission of this district is clearly defined in Texas law. Our first and foremost responsibility is to protect the health and sustainability of the aquifer. Everything else flows from that duty. Here in Kinney County, that responsibility is visible and very personal. The spring is the heart of this community. It sustains local residents. It supports wildlife and habitat. It defines the identity and economy of Fort Clark Springs, Bracketville, and Kinney County. It is a direct and visible indicator of aquifer health. When the aquifer declines, the spring declines. When the spring declines, the community declines. If we prioritize short-term production or individual permits ahead of aquifer health, we risk permanent damage to the spring, loss of water security for all residents, legal and financial consequences for the district, and irreversible harm to Kinney County's natural heritage. Here in Kinney County, protecting the aquifer means protecting the spring, because the spring is the clearest expression of whether we are doing our job. I support the adoption of the new spring-based DFC. It is written in plain language and will utilize a simplified method of data evaluation. This will enable the district to monitor and regulate the groundwater in a way that is understandable and fair for all stakeholders. The board of directors consulted their hydrologist, considered the 9 factors required by Chapter 36 of the Texas Water Code, and listened to public concerns about the health of the aquifer before they voted unanimously on this new
DFC. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Farmer. Would you like to submit those? Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Rogers, is it
Lisa.
Lisa? Okay, thank
So
you.
pretty much everything I was gonna say has been said, so to save time, can I just submit the written?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
Only thing I would add that I didn't write on there is to the person who's speaking about the money Fort Clark Springs is losing. We didn't buy a membership. We've been here 3 years now. This is our 4th summer. And we're all excited to buy a membership. They've lost 3 years of membership from my boyfriend and I because that spring goes dry, and that's the only reason I have a membership, unless you have a horse. You won't let me get, so. If anyone wants to donate a horse, I'm open.
Thank you for your comment, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you.
And I've got your written ones right here. Ms. Brown. Yes, that's the only one I've got right now. I'm sorry.
Just making sure. Okay, good evening, y'all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Gage Brown. I am a co-founder of Los Moras Springs Conservation Association, which was founded back in 2022, the first year the springs went dry. And we founded it just to figure out what the hell was going on. We didn't know why the spring was going dry, but we noticed because it was the first time in history it's gone dry for months on end. And then it happened every year after that up until this year. So this is a phenomenon you've never seen before. So something's wrong. And we're trying to figure that out as community members. And I know some of the board members are trying to figure that out. And this new DFC is a huge step in the right direction. This is a huge victory that took years to get to. Teresa Nichols, Vince Claus held several meetings. Community members have been advocating for a science-based DFC and science-based drought plan. And this is that. We heard all the data months ago, and he gave this recommendation. So this is an exciting point in time, but it's certainly not the end. We still have so much further to go. And that includes forming a drought plan where people out in the county can be held accountable for how much water they're using, just like we're held accountable in town or on the 4th. We have to cut back whenever we're in a drought. So why don't people in the county? That doesn't really make a lot of sense. My family has been ranching here for 5 generations. I'm privileged to say that. Cattle ranching and ranching has historically been the primary economic industry in this county. And you need not much water to do it, but a little bit of water. But in 2023, our wells started shutting off automatically. We have an automatic shut off whenever it gets too low so it doesn't burn up. I have a ranching friend who's just west of the spring. His well dried up. They cattle ranch too. The Kickapoo State Park in the northern part of the county, their well dried up, and they had to tell campers that they couldn't supply water to anyone. So it's not just the spring that's going dry, it's people's wells who rely on that water to make a living. People whose heritage is a huge part of the culture of this place, like ranchers. So there's a lot of reasons I care about this spring and care about this issue, but I just wanted to speak from that perspective today, because oftentimes I think people are under the impression this is a pro-agriculture or anti-agriculture thing. You can't cut back if you're pro-agriculture. Well, I'm telling y'all, our family will not have water to ranch if we don't have people cut back in this county. So I wanted to make that real clear. And I wanted to read an excerpt from the Bracket newspaper from July 1964, because we've never had the spring go dry for this duration of time every year, but it has gone dry in the past. And this might provide some insight to look into. I'm not claiming to be a hydrologist here. I'm going to listen to the science, and I want the board to listen to the science. But this is a quote. The development of irrigation northwest and particularly southwest of Brackenville appears to have caused a lowering of head pressure in the underground reservoir west of Brackenville, Edwards Underground Water District said in its July bulletin. So these were professionals studying that at the time. We have professionals studying it now. And if the head pressure we know affected it back then, chances are it's affecting it now. This doesn't have to be happening. This is a huge step in the right direction if we can approve a new DFC. And I'm proud to see so many of my fellow community members here because this is a fight that concerns us all. And we're going to make it happen because we care that much about this place. That's all. Thank you.
Dee Dee Brown.
I don't need to speak now because I was going to have to correct my dear daughter because when she said this has never happened before in history. And I'm old enough, I was born in 67, but I was pretty fresh whenever my family talked about when the spring went dry in 64 and why it went dry. And when I kind of bristle whenever people say it's just about a pool. Yes, people love that pool. I love that pool, and I have never lived on the fort. But every summer of my life, since it's been brown and root, we cooled off at that pool. We would drive in from the ranch and swim in that pool. So it's more than that. It's about the wildlife. It's about the trees. It's about the heritage, like Gage said, and others have said. But more than that, this is about fairness. This is about all the ranchers in this county, not just the couple with the permit. What about them? It's way more than just worrying about getting sued because people are stomping their feet and they don't want to cut back. Let's just make it fair for everybody. And it might come down to just head pressure where you have to just adjust your wells and the capacity of pumping in a short distance. But we have the science, and I'm sorry, but the 10 is not hydrologically, the spring is connected. It gets their recharge from a different place because we're in the BFC where our ranch is in Eastern County. And I'm sorry, that's 10. The spring is not in 10, the spring is in 7, but that's beside the point. Where the pumping happens matters for the spring. The science is there. You can either deny it or look at it. But I'm not going to hear all this hogwash about, I don't know a whole lot. When people say that, we'll learn. Read some science because we've been here before in 64. This is exactly what's happening now.
Edwina Pettis.
I didn't prepare anything, but I do want to speak to board members and my community. My husband and I invested in property about 3 years ago, right when the drought started. Had I known that I would have been considered a pro pumper and on the other side of this, we would have probably thought twice. But we didn't because Braggarville's our home. I grew up here. I came back here. I grew up with the springs. I fished in the springs. And I came back here because this was home to me. It's very frustrating when I get lumped in a group, when I particularly don't see myself in that area. I've spoken to just about every single board member on here, and there is not one board member that I can say does not feel the strain and the same on some level. It's an open door in here. I have spent many hours in here, many hours asking questions. Spoke to Jim many hours. Bill Hutchinson I haven't gotten to see Vince, but I also went above to speak to the landowners and the ranchers to see what it's like for them. And they're just like all of us. They put their pants on the same way we do. And it's very concerning when I can sit in the middle. I want the DFC. I understand the science. I've asked you so many questions, Jim, just picking your brain because I didn't want to be a part of the problem. So I educated myself. I looked into things and I asked hard questions. Okay. Yes, I'm in favor for preservation. I'm in favor of it. But I also am in favor to learning more information. And you watch the videos, you listen to Vincent speak, you listen to where we're going, all the data points. We have to start somewhere, yes, but we've already started. The information keeps coming, but there's so much. And to pinpoint exactly, I think I wanted to ask, how much of a deficit are we in rain? Like, what does that look like? Because that concerns me out there, but I have to be in the community. I have to sit with a label on me And it's very frustrating because I'm with y'all. I want the pool. I want those things. But when you're sitting in the middle and you're hearing, again, talking to these people, they don't want the same thing. We all want the same thing to preserve our lifestyle. So we have to be open to answers, to asking questions, to coming in here and asking even more questions. Because I don't know how many of y'all have spent time in here, but this has literally been my second home because I don't want to hurt my community. So I encourage you all to ask more questions. If you don't get the answers you're looking for, there are 7 people on there. There's 3 people that work in the office. I encourage you to get more information. They're doing what I've asked them to do, is get me out of the hot seat, right? Because I don't want to be here in that hot seat. So I'm asking because I want to inform myself. And I'm here to tell y'all, all these people care. They do. We all care. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ms. Betty. Would anyone else like to make a public comment? If not, we're going to close the public hearing and we will adjourn. Thank you for your time.